Connor and Sheila Dwyer, the couple who vanished after a funeral. 199,190-minute documentary script prologue. The silence of Fermoy narrator. Deep Irish accent. Ireland. Land of legends. Fairies. Ghosts. Lost souls. For thousands of years, stories have been told across these lands. Legends passed down through generations. In green hills, stone houses, ancient churches, the past lives on. But sometimes reality becomes far stranger than any legend. Fermoy town lies in the heart of County Cork. The Blackwater River flows through the center of town. Stone bridges, century-old buildings, narrow streets. Simplicity and silence reign here. 5,000 people live in this town. Everyone knows everyone. Neighbors greet each other in the mornings. Shopkeepers know their customers' names. Secrets cannot stay hidden for long in such small places, or so people thought. April 30th, 1991. Tuesday. It was one of the last days of spring. The weather was sunny, but still cool. There was a funeral service at St. Patrick's Church. They had lost a beloved member of the community. People gathered dressed in black. Tears were shed. Prayers were recited. Among the crowd was an elderly couple, Connor and Sheila Dwyer. They were 62 and 61 years old, married for over 30 years. They were quiet, ordinary residents of Fermoy. Their neighbors greeted them. They smiled politely in return. The service ended. People filed outside. The sun was shining. Connor and Sheila chatted with a few neighbors on the church steps. "We're going home," they said. They waved goodbye. They turned the corner, and they were never seen again. Connor and Sheila Dwyer vanished completely from Fermoy's sunlit streets one Tuesday afternoon. Their home was only 200 meters away, but they never arrived. How did it happen? Where did they go? What happened to them? Did someone do something to them? Or did they disappear on their own? 33 years have passed. Nobody knows. Chapter 1. The couple's life. A home in Fermoy. 1.1. Connor Dwyer. Cars and dreams narrator. Connor Dwyer was born in Fermoy in 1929. Ireland was still a young republic, having just gained independence from Britain. Poverty was widespread. Working-class families lived under difficult conditions. Connor's family was poor. His father was a construction worker. His mother was a housewife. They had 6 children, including Connor. They lived in a small house, barely making ends meet. Growing up in 1930s and 40s Ireland wasn't easy. During World War II, Ireland remained neutral, but poverty and scarcity affected everyone. Connor started working at a young age, in fields, in shops, wherever he could find work. But Connor had dreams, big dreams. He had one particular passion: cars. Connor was obsessed with vintage automobiles. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Jaguar, Mercedes. Luxurious, elegant, expensive cars. Gleaming metal, polished leather, powerful engines. Connor was fascinated by them all. Of course, he didn't own such a car himself. His family could barely get by. But Connor managed to be around these vehicles. How his first job was as a taxi driver. In the early 1950s, Connor began transporting local residents through Fermoy's streets. It was simple work: But Connor loved it. Driving cars, serving passengers, earning a modest income. He was making money, but it wasn't enough. Connor had bigger plans. Connor's brother Brendan Dwyer archive interview. 1993. Connor was always different, even from childhood. While other kids played football, he'd watch cars passing by. He knew every make and model. Look, Brendan, that's a Bentley Mark 6, 1948 model. 6-cylinder engine, he'd say. I just laughed as he grew older. His dreams grew bigger. One day I'll be rich, he'd say. I'll have a big house, a luxury car. I'll be the richest man in Fermoy. We older brothers would laugh. Connor, we're from Fermoy. We're working class. Nobody gets rich here, we'd tell him. But he believed. There was a light in his eyes, as if he knew a secret. Narrator. Years passed. Connor worked as a taxi driver, then became a plumber. Sometimes he'd juggle multiple jobs at once. He was hardworking, disciplined, determined. In 1960, he married a young woman named Sheila Sweeney. Connor was 31. Sheila was 29. They had 2 sons, Connor Jr. in 1961, Gary in 1963. Connor kept working. He had to support his family. Taxi driving, plumbing, sometimes car repairs. Whatever work he could find. But luxury cars were always on his mind. One point to Sheila Dwyer, silent grace narrator. Sheila Sweeney was born in Fermoy in 1930. She was 1 year younger than Connor. The Sweeney family was one of Fermoy's established and well-liked families. Sheila's father ran a small shop. The family was slightly better off than Connor's, but they weren't wealthy. They were middle class. Sheila was an elegant and polite woman. She dressed well, always clean, proper, careful. She attended church regularly. She maintained good relationships with neighbors. When she married Connor in 1960, they dreamed of a happy future. The wedding ceremony took place at St. Patrick's Church. The townspeople attended. It was a modest but meaningful ceremony. In photographs, Connor and Sheila looked young and happy. Neighbor Mary O'Sullivan interview. 2015. I knew Sheila very well. She was such a sweet woman. She always smiled, but she was quiet. She didn't talk much. She was private. Every morning I'd pass by her house. Sheila would be watering the garden or cleaning the windows. I'd greet her. She'd smile. Good morning, Mary, she'd say. But she wouldn't engage in long conversations. She never shared her secrets with anyone. She wouldn't complain about her husband. She didn't talk much about her children. She kept everything inside. Maybe that's why we never found out what happened. Narrator. Connor and Sheila were a normal couple by Fermoy standards. They had a small house in the Chapel Hill area, a 2-story stone-walled, modest home. They raised their children. Connor Jr. and Gary went to school, grew up, and in the early 1980s moved to London. They found work in England and settled there. Connor and Sheila grew old. They were left alone. They lived a quiet life until the late 1980s. 1.3 The Fritz Wolf Connection. Entry into luxury life narrator. Connor Dwyer was now 59 years old. He could have retired, but no. because his dream was about to come true. Fritz Wolf, German businessman. What exactly he did was unclear. Some said he was in real estate. Some said import-export. Others whispered about darker dealings. Fritz Wolf owned a large manor in Castellians village, about 10 kilometers outside Fermoy. He had restored a 100-year-old historic building with extensive grounds. And he had one passion: classic cars. Fritz Wolf's garage housed a collection of Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Jaguars, and Mercedes, models from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. And he was looking for a driver, not just any driver, but someone who loved these cars, could care for them properly, clean them, maintain them. Connor Dwyer was perfect for the job. Connor's work colleague Tom Murphy interview. 2024. It was 1988, I think. Connor called me. He was so excited. "Tom, you won't believe it," he said. "What happened?" I asked. "I got a job." "But what a job?" he said. He told me about Fritz Wolf, German millionaire, classic car collection, and he'd hired Connor as his driver. Connor was thrilled. "Tom, I've dreamed about these cars my whole life. Now I'm driving them. I'm driving a Rolls-Royce, Tom. Me, a poor Fermoy boy." His eyes were shining. It was like he'd received the gift he'd been waiting for since childhood. Narrator: Connor began working for Fritz Wolf. Every day he'd go to Castellians. He'd drive the cars, take Fritz Wolf to meetings, to Cork, to Dublin, sometimes even to London. Connor would clean the cars, maintain them, keep everything in order, and he was making money. Good money. For the first time in their lives, Connor and Sheila had a comfortable income. But was this just a job? Gossip began in town. Anonymous Fermoy neighbor archive interview. 1992. Connor and Wolf were very close. Very. It wasn't a normal employer-employee relationship. They were like friends. Some people thought something illegal was going on. Smuggling, maybe. Or money laundering. Who was Fritz Wolf? Where did he come from? What did he do? Nobody knew exactly. And Connor. Connor always wanted money. He wanted to be rich. Maybe he got involved in dangerous business. Narrator: but there was no evidence. Just whispers, gossip, speculation. Connor and Fritz Wolf worked together from 1988 to 1991. 3 years. And then Connor and Sheila disappeared. Chapter 2. The Missing Days, April 30th. 19,912.1 The funeral service. Last sighted. Narrator: April 30th, 1991. Tuesday morning. In Fermoy. The weather was sunny but cool. It was the last days of spring. Trees had turned green. The Blackwater River flowed peacefully. At 10 a.m. There was a funeral service at St. Patrick's Church. A 68-year-old local man named Michael O'Brien had died. Heart attack. The townspeople gathered. The O'Brien family was well known in Fermoy. Connor and Sheila Dwyer decided to attend the service. They knew the O'Brien family. They wanted to pay their respects. Around 9:45 a.m., they left their home. Connor wore a dark grey jacket and brown casual trousers. Sheila wore an elegant light beige jacket, white blouse, and white shoes. Sheila's bag was a small brown leather handbag. They walked to the church. The distance between home and church was approximately 500 meters. A short walk. They attended the service. The church was crowded. About 150 to 200 people were there. Connor and Sheila sat in the back rows. They quietly listened to the prayers. The service lasted about 40 minutes. Hymns were sung. The priest spoke about Michael O'Brien. His family shed tears. Around 10:30 a.m., the service ended. People slowly began filing outside. Catherine Felon neighbor. Archive interview. 1991. After the funeral service, I was standing on the church steps. I was talking with my husband. Then I saw Connor and Sheila. They were descending the stairs. I went over to them. "Good morning, Connor. Good morning, Sheila," I said. They both smiled. "Good morning, Catherine," they replied. We chatted for a bit. We talked about the weather. "It's a beautiful day today," I said. "Yes, sunny," Sheila said. Connor also mentioned the weather. Then we talked about the funeral. "Poor Michael. Gone too soon," I said. Connor nodded. "Yes, it's sad," he said. We talked for a few minutes. Then Connor said, "We're going home, Catherine. Good day." I said, "Good day. See you later." I waved. They waved too, and started walking toward Chapel Hill. I watched them from behind. They were walking. Then they turned the corner and disappeared from sight. I never forgot that moment, because that was the last time I saw them. Narrator: this was the last time Connor and Sheila Dwyer was seen by a witness. Time: 10:35 a.m. Location: St. Patrick's Church steps. Witness: Catherine Felon. After that, the uncertainty begins. Connor and Sheila began walking toward their home, but they never arrived. What happened? To point to the moment of disappearance, ? Narrator: it would have taken Connor and Sheila 5 to 10 minutes to walk from the church to their home. At normal walking pace, the route was simple. They would take the main road leading to Chapel Hill. But they never went. Nobody saw them. No neighbor, no shopkeeper, no car driver. It was as if they evaporated. There are two theories. Theory 1. After leaving the church, Connor and Sheila didn't go directly home. They went somewhere else. Maybe to a shop. Maybe to meet someone. Maybe to get in their car and drive somewhere. Theory 2. Connor and Sheila headed toward home, but someone stopped them on the way. A car, the person, and took them away. Which theory is correct? Nobody knows. 3 May 1st. The last phone counter-rater. The next day, May 1st, 1991. Wednesday. Sheila called her sister Maisie Sweeney. It was morning, around 11 o'clock a.m. It was a brief conversation. Ordinary, everyday talk. Maisie Sweeney's sister. Archive interview. 1993. On Wednesday, May 1st, Sheila called me. It was around 11 o'clock. The phone rang. I answered. "Hello, Maisie," she said. "Hello, Sheila," I said. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm fine. And you?" I said. "I'm fine too," she said. There was nothing unusual in her voice. Normal, calm, like always. "We went to the funeral yesterday," she said. Michael O'Brien S., I said. Yes, she said. It was crowded. Very sad, she said. We talked for a few more minutes. About family, the weather, ordinary things. Then, okay, Maisie. Talk to you later, she said. Talk to you later, I said. She hung up. That was it. An ordinary phone call. But this was the last phone call Sheila ever made. After that, she never called again. We never spoke again. Narrator. Police later examined phone records. Garda Siechana. Official report summary 1991. Records show that Sheila Dwyer called her sister Maisie Sweeney on May 1st, 1991. At 11:04 a.m., the call lasted 7 minutes and 32 seconds. This is the last confirmed phone call made by Sheila Dwyer. After that, no phone calls were made from the Dwyer residence. No incoming calls were detected either. Narrator. Wednesday, May 1st, Sheila made a phone call, had a normal conversation, and then silence. No word was ever heard from Connor and Sheila again. To point for silent days. May to ND-18th narrator : days passed. May 2nd, May 3rd. 1 week. 10 days. No news from Connor and Sheila. But nobody worried. Why? Because Connor and Sheila sometimes kept to themselves. Sometimes they wouldn't talk to anyone for days. They'd stay home, just tend to their own business. Their neighbors were used to this. Neighbor Patrick Fitzgerald interview, 1992. Connor and Sheila were quiet people. They didn't go out every day. Sometimes they'd stay home for weeks. They'd do their grocery shopping, then return home. When I didn't see them, I'd think they're at home. It was normal. Narrator. That's why nobody raised an alarm. Days passed silently. May 2nd, May 3rd, May 5th, May 10th, May 15th. Nobody saw Connor and Sheila, but nobody wondered either until May 19th. The 5th of May 19th. Birthday alarm. Narrator. May 19th, 1991. Sunday. It was Sheila Dwyer's 61st birthday. Her sister Maisie wanted to call Sheila to congratulate her. It was around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. She dialed the number. The phone rang for a long time, but nobody answered. Maisie Sweeney interview, 1993. I found it strange. Sheila always answered the phone, especially on her birthday. She'd know I was going to call. I tried again an hour later. Still no answer. I tried once more in the evening. Still no response. That's when I started to worry. Narrator. Maisie called her other sister, Nellie. She explained the situation. Nellie also tried calling Sheila. Still no answer. The two sisters talked. What should we do? Monday, May 20th. Maisie and Nellie called again. Still no response. They called neighbors. They called Connor's former work colleagues. Nobody had seen Connor and Sheila. It was now clear something was wrong. Wednesday, May 22nd, 1991. Exactly 3 weeks had passed since their disappearance. Maisie called the police. Chapter 3. Police investigation. Empty house and missing car. 3. 1. Initial police response. Discovery at the house. Narrator. Wednesday afternoon. May 22nd, 1991. And Garda Síochána, the Irish police, came to the Dwyer home on Chapel Hill. To police officers, Garda Joe Watkins and Garda Michael Collins, they knocked on the door. No answer. They checked with neighbors. Nobody had seen Connor and Sheila. They contacted a local locksmith. With permission, they opened the door. They entered. Garda member Joe Watkins retired. Interview. 2021. When we opened the door, my first impression was everything looked normal. The house was very clean, orderly. Beds were made. The kitchen was spotless. The living room was neat and tidy. It was as if they'd just stepped out for a few hours. But they'd been missing for 3 weeks. Narrator. Police examined the house in detail. And Garda Síochána Incident Report. May 22nd, 1991. Location, Chapel Hill. Fermoy, County Cork. Report number 1991 FC 03 for 7. Date and time, May 22nd, 1991. 14:30. Officers. Garda J. Watkins. Garda M. Collins. Observations. The front door was locked. Opened with permission. Living room, clean and orderly. Sofa and chairs in place. Television off. No signs of struggle. Kitchen. Dishes washed and put away. Counters clean. Food in refrigerator. Milk, eggs, cheese, meat. Some food items past expiration date. Bedroom. Bed neatly made. Wardrobe checked. Missing clothing identified. Connor Dwyer. 1 jacket. 1 pair of trousers. Shirt. Shoes missing. Sheila Dwyer. 1 jacket. Dress or blouse. Shoes missing. Some clothes still in wardrobe. Bathroom. Clean. Toothbrushes in place. Shaving supplies in place. Other observations. 2 passports found on table. Connor Dwyer and Sheila Dwyer. In a biscuit tin in the kitchen cupboard. £1,050 in Irish pounds cash was found. 3 weeks' worth of unopened mail accumulated. Conclusion. No signs of struggle, forced entry, or violence detected in the house. Missing clothing consistent with short trip. Passports and cash remaining in house is noteworthy. Signature. Garda J. Watkins. Narrator. This was very strange. If Connor and Sheila were running away, why didn't they take their passports? Why did they leave their money behind? If someone had kidnapped them, why was the house so orderly? There were no signs of struggle, no blood traces, broken items, overturned furniture, nothing. It was as if Connor and Sheila had just gone out for a short walk. Asterisk 3.2. Bank accounts and financial status. Narrator. Police checked bank accounts. Garda Financial Investigation. Report. May 24th, 1991. Connor Dwyer and Sheila Dwyer joint bank account. Bank of Ireland. Fermoy branch account number. Confidential. Last transaction date. April 26th, 1991. Transaction. £50 cash withdrawal by Connor Dwyer. No transactions made after April 30th, 1991. Account balance May 22nd, 1991. Pound. 2,340. Conclusion. Connor and Sheila Dwyer made no withdrawals after their disappearance date. No checks written. No credit cards used. No financial activity detected. Narrator. This was also strange. If they were running away, they would have needed money. but they didn't withdraw any. 3.3 white Toyota Cressida, the missing link narrator, the only important thing missing from the house. Connor's car. White Toyota Cressida, 1978 to 79 model, four-door sedan, license plate ZT5797. Connor had purchased this car in 1983. He'd bought it second-hand, but had gotten it into excellent condition. He cleaned it every day, polished it, maintained it. His car was his pride. And now, his car was also missing. Garda Joe Watkins. That's when I understood. The answer is in that car. Connor and Sheila were in that car. Either they had an accident, they ran away, or someone abducted them in the car. But wherever the car is, they are too. Narrator: the Garda immediately took action. All of Ireland was notified. All police stations, all airports, all ports. White Toyota Cressida, license plate ZT5797. Stop and report if seen. Dublin Airport was checked. That license plate had never passed through. Cork Harbour was checked. Never boarded any ferries. Rossler Harbour was checked. No records. Searches were conducted on all roads, all parking areas, all side roads, all forests, but no trace was found. The car had vanished as if wiped from the face of the earth. 3.4 Blackwater River. Initial theory and search narrator. A river flows right through the center of Fermoy. The Blackwater, wide, deep, flowing water. Sometimes it appears calm, but its current is strong. The Garda developed their first theory: traffic accident. Maybe Connor was driving, passing through Chapel Hill when something happened. Heart attack, stroke, loss of control. The car veered off the road, fell into the river, sank. Connor and Sheila trapped inside. They drowned. This was a logical theory. The Blackwater River, in some parts of Fermoy, ran very close to the road. Garda diving operation, May 27th to 30th, 1991. Professional divers arrived. They began searching the river. The Blackwater River was long and depths varied. Some places to meters, some places 6 meters. Divers conducted methodical searches. Dive team leader Sean O'Connor interview, 2010. Searching the Blackwater River wasn't an easy job. The water was murky. Visibility was very limited. But we did our best. We searched for days. Used sonar, made dives, checked every square meter. But we found no car, found no bodies. The river was clean. Narrator: May 27th to 30th. 4 days of intensive searching. Result: nothing. The Blackwater theory collapsed. Connor and Sheila weren't in the river. So where were they? 3.5 witness statements. Didn't anyone see them? Narrator: the Garda conducted interviews with townspeople. Did anyone see Connor and Sheila after April 30th? Dozens of people were questioned. Police statement summary, May-June 1991. Statement 1. Catherine Fellin, neighbor. On Tuesday morning, April 30th, around 10:35 a.m., I spoke with Connor and Sheila on the St. Patrick's Church steps. They said they were going home. This is the last time I saw them. Statement 2. Patrick Fitzgerald, neighbor. I never saw Connor and Sheila after April 30th. Their house was silent. Lights weren't on. It was as if they weren't home. Statement 3. Tom Murphy, Connor's work colleague. My last conversation with Connor was on Sunday, April 28th. We spoke on the phone. Everything was normal. He indicated no problems. Statement 4. Noel Barry, local grocer. Connor and Sheila would sometimes come to my shop, but they haven't come since late April. I haven't seen them. Statement 5. Fritz Wolf, employer. Connor worked on Monday, April 29th. Everything was normal. On Tuesday, April 30th, he didn't come to work. He didn't leave a note, didn't call. This wasn't like him. I was concerned but waited a few days. Then I informed the police. Narrator. Fritz Wolf's statement was important. Connor had worked on Monday, April 29th. Everything was normal, but he hadn't gone to work on Tuesday, April 30th. Connor was a man who never missed work. He was disciplined, responsible. So what happened on Tuesday, April 30th? Chapter 4. Theories and speculations for Point 1. Theory 1. Voluntary disappearance. A new life narrator. First theory. Maybe Connor and Sheila planned it. They voluntarily disappeared to build a new life. But why? Several possibilities. Possibility A. Debts. Maybe Connor and Sheila were in debt. Maybe they were receiving threats. They had to run. But police examined bank records. There were no debts. They had £2,340 in their accounts. £1,050 cash at home. The debt theory seemed weak. Possibility B. Relationship problem. Maybe Connor and Sheila were unhappy in their marriage. They wanted to be with someone else, but neighbors and family members rejected this. Sister Maisie Sweeney, Sheila and Connor were a happy couple. They'd been married for 30 years. I never saw them fight. Sheila never complained to me. They were happy. This theory also seemed weak. Possibility C. A plan with Fritz Wolf. This was the most controversial theory. Maybe Connor had gotten involved in illegal business with Fritz Wolf. They'd made money, and now they were running. Maybe Fritz Wolf provided them with fake passports. Maybe he gave them a chance to build a new life in Germany or another country. Local journalist Michael O'Leary interview, 1992. Who was Fritz Wolf? A wealthy German. But what did he do? Nobody knew exactly. Was he a real estate agent? A businessman? Or was he involved in darker dealings? Connor worked for Wolf for 3 years. They were very close. Maybe Connor knew too much, saw too much. Maybe Wolf said to Connor, "Come with me, I'll build you a new life." And Connor accepted. Narrator. But there was no evidence. Fritz Wolf was questioned. He had an alibi. On April 30th, he was in Germany. Passport records showed this. Fritz Wolf cooperated, answered all questions, showed no suspicious behavior. The Garda removed Fritz Wolf from the suspect list. But the rumors didn't stop. To Luton Airport tip. Ghost sighting narrator. June 1991, Luton Airport. London, England. An Irish woman named Mary O'Brien called the Garda. Mary O'Brien witness. Phone statement. June 1991. I was at Luton Airport, waiting for my flight. It was crowded. Suddenly I saw a couple, an elderly couple. The man was tall, thin, wearing a trench coat. The woman was medium height, wearing a headscarf. They were speaking with Irish accents. I heard them and for a moment, I thought, could this be the Dwyers? I'd seen their photos in the newspapers, but I wasn't sure. They were far away, and they walked quickly. They disappeared from sight. Narrator: the Garda immediately took action. Luton Airport authorities were contacted. Date: early June 1991. What flights were there? Hundreds of passenger records were checked. Result: no records under the names Conor Dwyer and Sheila Dwyer. But perhaps under fake names? Perhaps with fake passports? Airport security cameras were checked. But in 1991, cameras were low quality. Clear images couldn't be obtained. Result: uncertain. The tip couldn't be confirmed. Was the couple Mary O'Brien saw the Dwyers? It was never known. For 3 The Munich connection. Fritz Wolf, shadow narrator. August 1991. Munich, Germany. An Irish tourist called the Garda. Anonymous Irish tourist statement. August 1991. I was in Munich, sitting at a cafe in Marienplatz Square. I saw a couple, an elderly couple. They were sitting at a table, drinking coffee. The man looked very much like Conor Dwyer. The woman also resembled Sheila, but I couldn't be sure. I was far away, and I didn't have the courage to go up and ask them. A few minutes later, they got up and left. I didn't follow them. Narrator: the Garda notified Interpol. Bavarian police got involved. Questions were asked in the Marienplatz area. Hotel records were checked. Result: nothing. No trace of the Dwyers could be found. But this tip brought up an interesting point. Fritz Wolf was German. He could have connections in Munich. Maybe he had taken Conor and Sheila to Germany. Garda Detective Superintendent Brian Murphy interview. 1993. The Fritz Wolf theory was the most popular theory, but there was no evidence. Wolf cooperated, answered all questions. Financial records were clean. No criminal record. Yes, he was a wealthy man. Yes, he had a classic car collection. But we found no evidence that he did anything illegal. Maybe there's a connection to Conor and Sheila's disappearance, but we couldn't prove it. Narrator: Fritz Wolf returned to Germany in 1995. He sold his Irish manor. He died in Germany in 2003. Heart attack. He was 76 years old before his death. He never spoke about the Dwyer case. If he had a secret, he took it to his grave. For the William Fennessy connection. Fermoy's curse narrator. Here's something even stranger. Conor and Sheila weren't the first people to disappear in Fermoy. February 1990, 14 months earlier. William Billy Fennessy, 54 years old, former Fermoy Town Council member, local businessman, a known and beloved man. Friday evening, February 16, 1990. Billy Fennessy left his workplace saying he was going home, but he never arrived home. His car also disappeared. Grey Daihatsu Charade. License plate WI for 73 to **. Local newspaper Cork Examiner headline February 17th. 1990. Mystery in Fermoy. Billy Fennessy missing. Narrator: the Garda launched a search. The entire region was searched, including the Blackwater River, but no trace was found. Billy Fennessy disappeared. So did his car. 14 months later, Connor and Sheila Dwyer disappeared. Along with their car. Was there a connection between the two cases? Asterisk Garda Detective Brian Murphy. We compared the Fennessy case with the Dwyer case. There were similarities. Both disappeared from Fermoy. Both had their cars missing. No trace was found for either. But there were also differences. Fennessy disappeared alone. The Dwyers were a couple. Fennessy was a businessman. The Dwyers were retired, semi-retired. Fennessy disappeared in the evening. The Dwyers in the afternoon. Conclusion: we found no direct connection between the two cases. Could be coincidence. Narrator: but the public was suspicious. Was there a curse in Fermoy? Something that made people disappear? Local people began telling stories. Fermoy's vanished people, the cursed ones of Blackwater. Legends began to form. 4.5/2012, William Fennessy, found narrator, 21 years past. June 2012, a routine dive was being conducted in the Blackwater River. The local diving club was doing river cleanup. At the bottom of the river, about 3 kilometers from Fermoy, they found something. A car, a grey car, buried in the riverbed. Covered with mud. Inside was a body, skeletal remains. Diver Paul O'Mahony interview, 2012. At first, I couldn't believe it. Is this a car? I said. It had been there for years. The river had covered it. I looked inside, and I saw the skeleton at the steering wheel, still wearing the seatbelt. I immediately called the police. Narrator: the guard arrived. The car was extracted, license plate checked. WI for 73 to dock. This was Billy Fennessy's Daihatsu charade. The body was confirmed by DNA testing. William Fennessy, he'd been in the Blackwater River for 21 years. Nobody had seen him. Garda official report 2012. William Fennessy fell into the Blackwater River as a result of a traffic accident on February 16, 1990. His car sank. He drowned. Ruled as accidental death. No criminal elements found. Narrator: Billy Fennessy's mystery was solved. It was a tragic accident. But this discovery created new hope for Connor and Sheila Dwyer. Maybe they were also in the river? Maybe their car was still at the bottom? In the summer of 2012, a comprehensive news search was conducted. Wider, deeper, with more modern equipment. Sonar scans, dive teams, drone footage, but nothing was found. Fennessy had been found, but the Dwyers were still missing. Chapter 533. Years later, the case that won't close. 5.1 The Sons and the Endless. Wait. Narrator: Connor Jr. and Gary Dwyer. Connor and Sheila's two sons. In 1991, they were 30 and 28 years old. They lived in London. They had good jobs. They were living their own lives when they received the phone call on May 22, 1991. Their world collapsed. Connor Jr. Dwyer interview. 2015, age 54. I remember. It was afternoon. The phone rang. It was my Uncle Patrick. His voice was shaking. Connor, your MAM and Dad. They're missing, he said. What do you mean missing? I said. Missing, he said. Nobody's seen them. For 3 weeks, my heart stopped. This can't be, I said. This doesn't happen. But it had. Narrator: Connor Jr. and Gary immediately went to Fermoy. They searched for their parents, talked to neighbors, cooperated with police, but they found nothing. Years passed. Connor Jr. and Gary went to Fermoy every year, hoped every year, were disappointed every year. Connor Jr. interview, 2024, age 63, 33 years. I've waited 33 years. Waited 33 years for an answer. They still come to me in dreams. I see my mom and dad. They wave at me. Don't worry, son. We're fine, they say. We'll be back soon, they say. Then I wake up, and reality, they're gone. They've been gone for 33 years, and I still don't know why. I'm old now. My health isn't good. Maybe I have 10 years. Maybe less. I want to know before I die. What happened to my mom and dad? Even if they're dead, I want to know. I want to bury them. I want to mourn. I want closure. But I think that closure will never come. 5-point to Crimical and media attention narrator. The Garda didn't give up. 1993 for the first time. The Dwyer case was broadcast on RTE1 television. On the Crimical program, Crimical was Ireland's most popular crime show. It told unsolved cases, asked for public help. The Dwyer case was told in a 15-minute segment. A reconstruction was done. Actors portrayed Connor and Sheila. Their exit from the church. The moment they disappeared, the program aired. Millions watched. Crimical results. June 1993. 347 tips received. Each one checked. Luton Airport tip. Munich tip. Several suspicious car tips. None confirmed. Narrator: 2004. Second Crimical episode. 13th anniversary. Again hundreds of tips. Again no results. 2014. Third Crimical episode. 23rd anniversary. Same result. 2024. Fourth Crimical episode. 33rd anniversary. Garda Detective Emma Fitzgerald interview. 2024. This case is still active, still open. There's still hope. Someone knows something. Maybe a neighbor, a friend, a family member. Maybe they weren't ready to speak back then, but they're ready now. 33 years have passed. Many people have died, but maybe someone still alive knows what happened to Connor and Sheila. Please come forward. Tell us. Connor and Sheila's family deserves it. They deserve answers. Narrator: the 2020 for Crimical program aired. Again hundreds of tips came in. One was interesting. Anonymous tip. Crimical hotline. April 2024. I knew Connor. He spoke to me a few weeks before he disappeared. One evening we ran into each other at the local pub. We were having a pint. Connor told me this. I'm planning something big. Really big. It's going to change my life. What are you planning? I asked. He smiled. You'll find out soon, he said. He didn't say anything more. I didn't take it seriously then, but then he disappeared. Now I'm thinking, what was Connor planning? Narrator: this tip raised a new question. Was Connor planning something? An escape? A new life? Something else? It was never known. 5.3 Toyota Cressida. Still the missing. Link. Narrator: 33 years have passed. The white Toyota Cressida is still missing. License plate ZT5797. This car is the key to finding Connor and Sheila's trail. Garda Detective Emma Fitzgerald. If we find that car, we'll find Connor and Sheila. I'm certain of it. That car is somewhere. Maybe in a garage. Maybe buried in a field. Maybe in a junkyard. Maybe in another country with fake plates. But it's somewhere, and we need to find it. Narrator. The Garda has been searching for the Toyota Cressida for 33 years. All junkyards in Ireland have been checked. No records. England, France, Germany, Spain. Interpol is still searching. But for 33 years. No trace. The car seems to have vanished. 5. For modern technology and new hopeless narrator. In the 2020s, technology advanced greatly. DNA tests more precise. Sonar searches more powerful. Satellite images clearer. In 2023, the Garda re-examined the entire case. With modern technology, modern investigation summary, 2023, satellite imagery, all satellite images from 1991 examined. Searching for white cars. Result: unclear. Low resolution. Social media scanning. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Photos of the Dwyer family shared. Millions saw them. Hundreds of tips. None confirmed. Facial recognition software. Photos of Connor and Sheila aged to create 2023 versions. Camera footage across Europe scanned. Result: false alarms. Narrator: even modern technology couldn't provide answers. Connor and Sheila Dwyer, 33 years later, are still missing. Epilogue. Fermoy's ghost couple. 6.1 Fermoy to narrator. Fermoy is still there. A small, quiet, green town. The Blackwater River still flows. St. Patrick's Church still stands. Every Sunday morning the bells ring. The Dwyer house on Chapel Hill sold in 1997. Connor Jr. and Gary had to sell the house because their parents weren't coming back. Now someone else lives in that house. A new family with their own stories. But some old neighbors still remember that day. Elderly neighbor interview. 2024. I still live on Chapel Hill. Every day I pass by the Dwyer's house. Sometimes I feel like I see Connor and Sheila walking down the street, like in the old days, smiling slowly, but then I rub my eyes. And there's nobody, just an empty street. Ghosts. Maybe Fermoy's ghosts. They're still here, still wanting to go home. 6.2 Evaluating the theorious narrator. 33 years later, we only have theories. Theory 1. Traffic accident. Connor had a heart attack while driving. The car went off the road. Fell somewhere, maybe into a forest, maybe into a ditch. Likelihood, medium. But the car hasn't been found for 33 years. Theory 2, voluntary disappearance. Connor and Sheila planned it. Got fake passports. Went to another country, living under new names. Likelihood, low. Passports and money left at home. No financial transactions made. Theory 3, abduction and murder. Someone abducted Connor and Sheila, killed them, hid the bodies. Likelihood, medium high. But who? Why? No suspects. Theory 4, Fritz Wolf connection. Connor got involved in illegal business with Fritz Wolf. Then something went wrong. He was silenced. Likelihood, low medium. No evidence. Wolf died, took his secret with him. Narrator. Which theory is correct? Will we ever know? 6.3 Final message. Eskiner Jr. Dwyer 2024. If my MAM and Dad are watching this program, I want them to know I love you. I miss you. Wherever you are, I want you to be happy. But please give us a sign. A phone call, a letter, something. I just want to know you're okay. And if they're dead, if someone did something to them, please speak up. Consult your conscience. Tell us. This family has been suffering for 33 years. Garda Detective Emma Fitzgerald. This case is still open. It will never close. Not until Connor and Sheila are found. If you know anything, please tell us. Maybe a small detail. Maybe a memory. Maybe a suspicion. Everything matters. Everything can help. 6 point for the story that won't close. A narrator. Connor and Sheila Dwyer went to a funeral service. On Tuesday morning, April 30th, 1991, they talked with neighbors on the church steps. We're going home, they said. They waved. They started walking. And they were never seen again. How did they disappear? Where did they go? Are they alive? Are they dead? 33 years have passed. Nobody knows. Maybe they're in the river, deep down, silently, waiting for 33 years. Maybe they're in Germany, in Munich, in Stuttgart, in a small house, under new names. Maybe they're in Spain, on the Costa del Sol, under the sun, as a retired couple. Or maybe they're underground, somewhere in Fermoy, buried, forgotten, in a place nobody knows. But they haven't been forgotten. Because Connor Jr. is still searching. Going to Fermoy every year, hoping every year, because the Garda is still working, evaluating every tip, following every lead, because people still wonder, still telling this story, still searching for answers. Connor and Sheila Dwyer, a couple, a mystery, an endless wait. Maybe one day they'll be found. Maybe. Final cards and contact information. Connor Dwyer, born 1929. Fermoy, County Cork, Ireland. Missing April 30th. May 1st, 1991. Last seen St. Patrick's Church. Fermoy. Age when disappeared 60. To Sheila Dwyer, niece Sweeney, born 1930. Fermoy, County Cork, Ireland. Missing April 30th. May 1st, 1991. Last seen St. Patrick's Church. Fermoy. Age when disappeared 61. White Toyota Cressida model 197879. License plate ZT 5797. Still missing. Case status still open and under active investigation. If you have information. And Garda Síochána Fermoy Garda Station *. Overall finale. 3 mysteries, 1 truth. Narrator. 3 cases, 3 countries, 3 disappearances. 1978, England. Jeanette Tate, 13 years old, vanished on a bicycle. Never found. 1989, America. Patricia Meehan, 37 years old, walked into darkness. Never found. 1991, Ireland. Connor and Sheila Dwyer, in their 60s. disappeared after a funeral. Never found. 3 different stories. 3 different people. 3 different moments. But one common thread. None of them were found. It feels as if Jeanette's bicycle is still standing on that road. The wind gently turning its pedals. Patricia's footprints still disappearing in that field. Snow slowly covering them. The Dwyer's Toyota still hidden somewhere. Dusty, forgotten, in a garage or deep in a forest. What do these stories teach us? A person can disappear on an ordinary day, at an ordinary moment, and may never be found. Justice doesn't always prevail. Truth doesn't always come out. Closure doesn't always come. Jeanette's father, John Tate, died without ever finding his daughter. His gravestone reads, "With my daughter." Patricia's mother and father died without finding their daughter. They left an empty space between their graves, hoping one day Patricia will come. Connor Jr. Dwyer is aging. His health is deteriorating. His hope of finding his parents is fading. But there is hope. There is always hope. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe in 50 years, a discovery, a confession, an answer. And then, maybe, the lost souls will come home. Jeanette, Patricia, Connor, Sheila, we will not forget them, because they're not just case numbers. They're human, loved, missed, searched for. And one day, they will be found. A person can vanish before our eyes, but they can never be erased from our hearts.